Colonel Maya Santos strode through the underground command center beneath Geneva, her footsteps echoing against steel floors. Screens lining the walls tracked the alien vessels as they retreated to the edge of the solar system. "They're maintaining position just beyond Neptune's orbit," reported Lieutenant Kovic, his eyes never leaving his monitor. "No signs of additional ships arriving." Santos nodded, her expression revealing nothing of the adrenaline still coursing through her veins. Humanity's first alien encounter had nearly escalated into something far worse. The fact that the visitors had backed down suggested they weren't bent on immediate conquest, but that didn't mean Earth could relax. "Maintain global defense readiness," she ordered, "and get me the latest analysis on their scanning technology." The Planetary Defense Council had convened in the adjacent chamber, 20 representatives from Earth's unified governments, their faces grave in the blue light of tactical displays. Santos entered to a tense silence. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, "initial analysis confirms the visitors possess technology several generations beyond our most advanced systems. However," she paused, bringing up enhanced imagery of the retreating vessels, "their reaction to our defensive posture suggests they didn't expect resistance." Secretary General Okafor leaned forward. "You're saying they underestimated us?" "Precisely," Santos replied. "Their scanning beams were powerful but unfocused, more like floodlights than lasers. When our electromagnetic countermeasures activated, they appeared genuinely surprised." Dr. Hikaru Tanaka, the Council's senior xenotechnology expert, rose from his seat. "The scan patterns match nothing in our theoretical models for weapons targeting. I believe they were conducting a cultural and biological survey, not preparing an attack." "Then why retreat?" asked the Chinese representative. Santos changed the display to show Earth's unified response. Orbital platforms activating shields, ground-based defenses tracking the alien vessels, and the rapid deployment of the newly commissioned space interceptors. "Because they didn't expect this," she said simply. "Our response time was under 3 minutes from initial contact to full defensive posture. Based on their communication patterns, they spent nearly 20 minutes in what appears to be internal debate before withdrawing." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity, still taking its first steps into the solar system, had just faced down an advanced interstellar civilization, and the aliens had backed off. "We should attempt communication," suggested the Indian representative. "Explain that we meant no offense." "With respect," Santos countered, "we know nothing about their intentions or culture. Their retreat gives us something invaluable: time." She brought up a new display showing accelerated construction schedules for Earth's fledgling orbital defenses. "I recommend we use this opportunity to strengthen our position. Whatever their purpose, they now know we exist and where to find us. They'll be back, and next time they'll be prepared for our defenses." The Australian representative frowned. "You're suggesting we prepare for war based on a single encounter that didn't involve actual hostilities." "I'm suggesting we prepare for all possibilities," Santos corrected. "Hope for peaceful contact, but ensure we can protect ourselves if necessary. The universe just got a lot bigger and potentially more dangerous." As the council debated, Santos studied the alien vessels frozen on the display. Something about their design, all smooth curves and gleaming surfaces without visible weapons, suggested a civilization that hadn't faced serious threats in a very long time. A civilization that might have forgotten what it meant to be truly challenged. "Colonel Santos," called Secretary General Okafor, interrupting her thoughts, "the Council has reached a decision. You have 6 months to implement your proposed defensive upgrades. We'll reassess when they're complete." Santos nodded, already calculating what humanity could accomplish in that time. 6 months to prepare Earth for whatever came next, whether it was peaceful contact or something far darker. "We'll be ready," she promised, knowing that humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to adapt when faced with the unknown. As she left the chamber, her communication device chimed with an alert. The alien vessels had changed position. They were moving away from the solar system. accelerating rapidly. They were leaving, but Santos felt no relief. This wasn't an end. It was only the beginning. Junior analyst Lurthal trembled as she stood before the Star Alliance War Council. The chamber's elegant crystal architecture, designed for harmony and contemplation, now felt suffocating under the weight of crisis. The humans' approach to defense is fundamentally different from ours, she continued, her voice steadying as she spoke. Where we seek patterns and optimization, they prepare for chaos and disruption. Admiral Voskar, his scaled face lined with centuries of experience, studied the simulation playing on the central display. It showed new Centauri's fall, the harvester entities swarming through the colony's precisely arranged defensive grid like water through a sieve. Different, he repeated thoughtfully. Explain. Lurthal brought up comparison footage, the brief encounter with Earth months earlier. She highlighted the seemingly random arrangement of Earth's orbital defenses, the unpatterned response protocols. The harvesters adapt by analyzing and countering patterns, she explained. Human defenses appear to deliberately avoid predictable formations. It's inefficient by our standards, but the harvesters would find it difficult to categorize, finished Science Director Kelfor, his interest visibly piqued. Fascinating. A defensive strategy based on controlled chaos rather than optimal efficiency. Not everyone was convinced. Fleet Commander Genlo snorted derisively. These humans barely have interplanetary capabilities. What could they possibly teach the Star Alliance about defending worlds? A fresh perspective, answered Admiral Voskar, silencing further objections with a wave of his hand. Prepare a diplomatic vessel. I will lead the mission myself. 3 days later, the Alliance delegation emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol system. What they found stunned them into silence. Earth's orbital space had transformed. Construction platforms dotted the void between planets. Half-completed defensive installations formed an irregular web around the homeworld. Patrol vessels moved in seemingly random patterns that nevertheless provided comprehensive coverage. All this in 3 months, whispered Ambassador Zolvek, who had led the first contact mission. How is this possible? Admiral Voskar watched as a formation of human interceptors broke from their patrol route to escort the Alliance vessel. Their approach vector constantly shifted, making their exact trajectory impossible to calculate. They're preparing for war, he stated. Not against us, but against something. They've been preparing since we left. General Diana Chen met the Alliance delegation in an orbital conference facility. The stark utilitarian design contrasted sharply with the Alliance's aesthetic sensibilities, but the efficiency of the layout was undeniable. Welcome back. Chen greeted them without ceremony. I assume you're here because you've encountered something you can't handle. Ambassador Zalvek bristled at her directness, but Admiral Voskar inclined his head respectfully. We face an ancient enemy, he acknowledged, one that adapts to and overcomes any defense we've designed. Chen's expression revealed nothing as she activated a holographic display. It showed a simulated battle between Earth forces and entities that bore an uncanny resemblance to the Harvesters. Like these? She asked. The Alliance delegation stared in disbelief. The simulation showed metallic organic hybrid entities, consuming technology and biomatter to grow stronger, just like the actual Harvesters. How did you know? Zolvek demanded. Did you encounter them before? Is that why your species is so defensive? General Chen's laugh was short and without humor. No, we just have good imagination for threats. Science fiction has been preparing us for centuries. She gestured to the simulation. This is just one of 50 potential hostile encounter scenarios we developed after your visit. She changed the display to show Earth's defense strategies, each tailored to a different type of threat, each avoiding predictable patterns. We call it threat mapping, she explained, preparing for dangers before they arrive. Admiral Voskar studied the human general with new respect. In all our history, we never thought to prepare for threats that didn't yet exist. That's why you need us, Chen replied simply. And judging by your arrival, I'm guessing we need you too. Lieutenant James Okoro guided the Alliance observers through the corridors of the Lunar Defense Facility, their expressions growing more bewildered with each demonstration. The training chamber ahead erupted with the sounds of simulated combat. This exercise simulates a harvester breach of a habitat dome, Okoro explained as they entered the observation deck. Below, human soldiers faced a recreation of harvester drones, using a startling variety of weapons and tactics. Science Director Kelvor winced as a soldier modified her rifle in the middle of combat, deliberately overloading its power cell to create an improvised explosive. That violates 17 different safety protocols. That's exactly the point, Okoro replied. The harvesters analyze and counter standard procedures. We don't give them the chance. On the training floor, squad leader Mai Wang directed her team not with specific orders but with a simple objective. Secure the power core, any means necessary. The soldiers immediately split into 3 teams, each taking a completely different approach. Inefficient, muttered Alliance military coordinator Pelfar. They should coordinate a single optimal strategy. 3 different approaches means at least one is likely to succeed, Okoro countered. And the harvesters must divide their counter-responses. Kelvor studied the chaos below with growing interest, a deliberate sacrifice of efficiency for unpredictability. Fascinating. The simulation ended with the human squads achieving their objective, though with what the Alliance would consider unacceptable losses. Yet when the soldiers exited the chamber, they were animated, discussing improvements to their tactics. They seem pleased with their performance, Pelfar noted, confusion evident in his voice. They succeeded in their mission, Okoro said. And they learned something. For us, that's a victory. Later, in the station's Strategic Command Center, General Chen met with the Alliance delegation to review the results of joint training exercises. The holographic display showed the statistical analysis. Alliance forces performed with perfect precision, but suffered catastrophic failures when the simulated harvesters adapted. Human forces took higher initial losses, but maintained effectiveness throughout. Your approach is unconventional, Admiral Voskar acknowledged, studying the data. But these results cannot be ignored. Unconventional is exactly what the harvesters can't predict, Chen replied. We need to implement these tactics across the joint fleet immediately. Ambassador Zolvek stepped forward, his ceremonial robes rustling. The Alliance has maintained unified military protocols for 2,000 years. You're asking us to abandon our traditions based on simulations. Chen's expression hardened. I'm asking you to survive based on results. The harvesters don't care about your traditions. An alert interrupted the tense exchange. A holographic message appeared. A harvester force had been detected approaching Proxima Station, a key Alliance outpost near human space. We can reach it in 6 hours, Voskar stated, but our standard response fleet would arrive too late and be predictable. Chen finished. She activated the command console. Fortunately, we prepared for this. Battle Group Sigma. This is General Chen. Deploy to Proxima Station immediately. Implement Chaos Protocol Delta. The Alliance representatives watched in astonishment as feeds showed a human battle group, already positioned near the hyperspace jump point, moving into action. Their vessels, modified with Alliance technology, but arranged in a formation no Alliance commander would consider, accelerated toward the threatened station. You anticipated this attack? Zolvek asked incredulously. We didn't know when or where, Chen explained, but we positioned rapid response groups at strategic points throughout Alliance space. Standard procedure. For humans, Voskar noted with growing respect. For survivors, Chen corrected. Now, let's see if our training pays off. The command center fell silent as they watched the human battle group jump to light speed, racing to meet the harvesters in humanity's first true interstellar combat. Engineering specialist Raj Patel crawled through the maintenance shaft, the frigid air of Europa biting through his insulated gloves. Behind him, Tilana and two other Alliance security officers followed reluctantly, their movements stiff with both cold and protocol-trained caution. "This violates containment procedure," Tilana protested as they emerged into the geothermal pump station. "We should remain at designated defense positions." Patel ignored her, moving directly to the control panel. "Designated positions are exactly where the harvesters expect defenders to be," he muttered, fingers flying across the interface. "Dr. Martinez, status." His comm crackled with Sophia's tense voice. 6 harvester units have breached level 3. They're adapting to our modified drilling lasers. We need that distraction now. The research outpost shuddered as another impact struck the outer hull. Through the reinforced viewport, Paddle could see more harvester craft descending through Europa's thin atmosphere, their biomechanical forms shifting and reconfiguring as they analyzed the outpost's defenses. "What exactly are you attempting?" Tilana asked, watching as Patel rerouted power from the safety systems. "Creating chaos," he replied simply. "The harvesters adapt by analyzing patterns, so we give them no pattern to analyze." With a final command, Patel overrode the geothermal regulators. Superheated water from Europa's subsurface ocean, normally carefully controlled to power the facility, surged through emergency vents. Steam erupted in corridors throughout the eastern section, scrambling sensors and creating a blind spot in the harvester's methodical advance. "Martinez, eastern corridors are hot. Move your team through Section 8 while they're blind." Tilana stared at the diagnostic display in horror. "You've compromised the structural integrity of the entire quadrant." "Yes," Patel agreed, already gathering tools from a maintenance locker. "And when the harvesters adapt to navigate through the steam, we'll collapse it entirely." The Alliance security chief's respiratory membranes fluttered in shock. "Collapse? You can't deliberately destroy part of the outpost." "Watch me," Paddle said grimly, handing each of them components from the locker. "Now help me assemble these thermal charges, or we all die here." Across the facility, Dr. Sofia Martinez led her mixed team of humans and Alliance researchers through the steam-filled corridors. The visibility was near zero, but that worked to their advantage. The harvesters' precision targeting systems struggled in the chaotic environment. "They're adapting," warned her second-in-command, watching through thermal imaging as the harvester units began extruding filtration appendages, reconfiguring to process the steam. Martinez nodded, unsurprised. "Right on schedule. All teams, fall back to Junction 12. Prepare for Phase 2. As the defenders retreated in seemingly disorganized fashion, the harvesters pressed their advantage, moving into the compromised eastern quadrant. Their collective intelligence registered the humans' retreat as a standard defensive failure, predictable and exploitable. They were wrong. From his position at the power distribution hub, Paddle watched the harvester units concentrate in the eastern section. "Tilana, they're in position. Trigger the charges on my mark." The Alliance officer hesitated, her training warring with survival instinct. "Your protocols won't save you," Paddle said quietly. "But this might. Trust me." Their eyes met, human determination against alien uncertainty, and something passed between them. Tilana reached for the detonator. 3, 2, 1. Mark. The thermal charges ignited simultaneously, destabilizing the already compromised structural supports. The eastern quadrant didn't merely collapse, it sheared away completely, breaking off from the main facility and plunging into Europa's icy depths, taking 12 harvester units with it. In the command center, human and Alliance personnel watched in stunned silence as almost a third of the harvester force vanished from their sensors. "The outpost," an Alliance commander whispered in horror. "You sacrificed an entire section." General Chen's response was calm but resolute over the comms. "We sacrificed buildings to save lives. Standard human procedure." And as the remaining harvesters hesitated, their collective intelligence struggling to process this unexpected development, The human defenders prepared their next surprise. Master Sergeant Kelly Wu stalked between the rows of alien students in the simulation chamber, her experienced eyes missing nothing. The reptilian saurians had once again formed a perfect defensive line. Beautiful, symmetrical, and utterly predictable. "Break it up," she ordered, her voice cutting through the controlled chaos of the training exercise. "Perfection is your enemy. The harvesters will analyze and counter any pattern in approximately 12 seconds. The Saurian commander, Sub-Marshal Xanzek, flicked his forked tongue in frustration. "Disorganization invites weakness. Our formations have been optimized over centuries." Wu stopped directly in front of him, unfazed by the fact that he towered over her by nearly 2 feet, and the harvesters have had millennia to learn how to counter them. Try something new. Across the training deck, the hive-minded Vextil were adapting to human instruction with remarkable speed. Their natural collective consciousness allowed them to coordinate complex asymmetric formations without verbal communication. Where once they had formed orderly, predictable patterns, they now flowed across the battlefield like water, constantly shifting. "Excellent progress," Wu noted, watching them neutralize simulated harvester drones. "The unpredictability index is up 40% from yesterday." In the research wing of the station, another kind of adaptation was underway. Commander Layla Hakim led a team of human engineers in disassembling Alliance atmospheric harmonizers, elegant crystal arrays designed to stabilize planetary weather patterns. Where Alliance scientists saw perfect balance, Hakim saw untapped potential. "The emission frequency can be modulated," she explained to the horrified Alliance technician monitoring her work. "If we introduce deliberate instability to the harmonic matrix, you'll destroy a precision instrument," the technician protested. Hakim's smile was both patient and determined. "I'll repropose it. There's a difference. By deliberately destabilizing the harmonizer's output and creating fluctuating energy patterns, Hakim's team discovered they could jam the neural network communication between harvester units. What was once a weather control device became a weapon that sowed confusion in the enemy's collective intelligence. Grand Admiral Zhenlo observed these developments with growing discomfort from the command center. Beside him, General Chen reviewed tactical data from the successful defense of Proxima Station. "Your people are dismantling centuries of Alliance technological development," Zhenlo noted, unable to keep the disapproval from his voice. "They're evolving it," Chen corrected him. "The harvesters adapt to counter what they understand. We need to become something they don't understand." On the main display, footage showed the Vextil training squad implement a chaotic but effective defense that completely confounded the simulation program. The Avidians, with their rigid hierarchy, had formally withdrawn from the program the previous day, unable to reconcile human methods with their cultural foundations. "We're losing cohesion," Zhenlo argued. "A military force requires unity of approach." Chen turned to face him directly. "With respect, Admiral, unity got your worlds consumed. Diversity might save them." Their conversation was interrupted by an alert. On a secondary display, Hakim's team activated their modified harmonizer against a simulated harvester swarm. The results were immediate and dramatic. The harvester units lost coordination, their movements becoming erratic as their neural network suffered cascading disruption. Zhenlo stared at the data in disbelief. "That shouldn't be possible." "That's what makes it effective," Chen replied. "The harvesters expect us to follow logical patterns of technological development. They don't expect us to deliberately introduce chaos into our own systems." For the first time, something like hope flickered across Zhenlo's features. "Perhaps there is wisdom in your madness after all, General." Chen's smile was slight but genuine. "The finest human compliment, Admiral. We'll make a defender of you yet." Captain Miguel Santos observed the harvester armada from the bridge of the destroyer _Defiant _, safely cloaked at the edge of the Kuiper Belt trap zone. The enemy vessels moved with eerie coordination, their biomechanical hulls shifting and reconfiguring as they analyzed their surroundings. "They're taking the bait," he reported, his voice calm despite the tension evident in his crew. Harvester forces are following the retreat pattern exactly as predicted. In the command hub aboard the Indomitable_, General Chen nodded in satisfaction. The holographic display showed the Harvester swarm pursuing what they believed to be a disorganized Alliance retreat, a perfect recreation of previous encounters where the Alliance had been routed. "Status of the trap zone?" she asked. Lieutenant Commander Park, the operations chief engineer, consulted her datapad. "All systems nominal. The trap network is in dormant mode, completely undetectable until activated." Around the room, both human and Alliance officers watched with a mixture of hope and anxiety. This was humanity's first large-scale engagement with the Harvesters, and they had committed resources that had taken months to prepare. "I still don't understand how you concealed so many devices throughout the belt," Admiral Voskar said quietly. "Our sensors detect nothing." Chen's smile was slight. "We didn't hide them. We made them look like something else." On cue, the tactical display updated as the Harvester forces crossed the invisible boundary into the trap zone. Thousands of what appeared to be ordinary asteroids and debris suddenly registered as active devices. "Now, Captain Santos," Chen ordered. Aboard the _Defiant_, Santos gave a simple command: activate Hornet's Nest. Throughout the vast expanse of the Kuiper Belt, disguised human devices awakened. Some asteroids split open, revealing electromagnetic pulse generators. Others released clouds of nanites programmed to target Harvester communication nodes. Dormant mining drones, repurposed with modified Alliance technology, activated to target specific vulnerabilities in Harvester biology. No two traps were identical. Some focused on electronic disruption, others on physical damage. Some targeted propulsion systems, others attacked the neural networks that coordinated the swarm. The effect was immediate and devastating. The perfectly coordinated Harvester formation dissolved into confusion as different units encountered different threats, requiring different countermeasures. "Their adaptation algorithms are conflicting," reported Science Officer Lin, monitoring the Harvester communications. "They can't develop a unified response to so many different attack types." In the heart of the trap zone, the Harvester command node, normally protected by layers of coordinated defensive units, suddenly found itself vulnerable as its escort vessels scattered to counter the chaotic assault. "Secondary phase," ordered Chen, and Santos immediately relayed the command. From hiding places throughout the belt, small, agile human attack craft emerged, each employing unique targeting systems developed specifically for this engagement. They struck at exposed Harvester weaknesses, further disrupting the collective's ability to coordinate. Admiral Voskar watched in amazement as the Harvester formation, which had consumed dozens of Alliance worlds with mechanical efficiency, broke apart into increasingly isolated groups, unable to maintain their neural network connections through the storm of varied interference. "Your people prepared all this in secret," he said, not a question but a statement of dawning understanding. "While we debated protocol and procedure, you were building this." "This is what humans do, Admiral," Chen replied, her eyes never leaving the tactical display as the mighty Harvester force continued to fragment. "We prepare for the worst while hoping for the best." As the trap reached full activation, a Harvester vessel attempted to flee the zone, only to encounter a minefield specifically designed to activate when escape was attempted. "Containment holding," reported Commander Park. "They're trapped in our web." For the first time in its ancient history, the Harvester Collective experienced something entirely new, confusion giving way to fear. Captain Lena Diaz gripped the arms of her command chair as the Destroyer_Relentless_ shuddered under another impact. Around her, the bridge crew worked with focused intensity, rerouting systems, and adjusting tactics without needing explicit orders. "Damage report," she called, eyes scanning the tactical display where the combined human Alliance fleet engaged the regrouping Harvester forces. "Hull breaches on decks 4 through 7, reported Lieutenant Kowalski. "Automatic seals holding. Weapons at 63%. Engine core temperature rising but still within operational parameters." Diaz nodded, her mind racing through alternatives. The relentless had taken heavy damage, pushing through the Harvester defensive screen. But they'd achieved something critical, a clear scan of the formation's interior structure. Confirmed, Captain, her science officer announced, excitement breaking through her professional demeanor. That signature matches our theoretical models. We've located the central command node. Across the battlefield, human vessels executed maneuvers that defied conventional space combat doctrine. The cruiser Audacity deliberately vented plasma from its port nacelle, creating a superheated cloud that confused Harvester targeting systems. The carrier Intrepid launched fighter squadrons in what appeared to be a disorganized scramble, but was actually a complex three-dimensional attack pattern designed to appear random. Alliance vessels, commanded by graduates of the Unconventional Warfare Academy, performed with similar unpredictability. Vextil cruisers moved in seemingly chaotic formations that nevertheless provided mutual support. Even some Saurian vessels had abandoned their traditional rigid formations, adopting human-inspired tactics that kept the Harvesters continually off balance. In the central command hub, General Chen tracked the battle's progress with grim satisfaction. The Harvester collective is fracturing, she noted as Admiral Voskar joined her at the tactical display. Their adaptation algorithms are conflicting. Each time they counter one of our approaches, we switch to something different. Voskar nodded, his expression solemn. And yet the command node remains protected. Their innermost defenses are holding. Chen's attention shifted to the relentless which had sustained significant damage but maintained its position near the heart of the Harvester formation. Captain Diaz has identified the command node's location. Now we need to strike it directly. Aboard the relentless Diaz made her decision. A quick analysis of the fleet's position showed that no other vessel could reach the command node in time. Her ship was already damaged beyond reasonable hope of return to safe space. All hands, this is the captain, she announced, her voice steady. Prepare for emergency evacuation. Combat teams will maintain essential systems only. Her first officer looked up sharply. Captain, we're going to deliver a package, Diaz explained, bringing up the engine schematics on her console. And the package is us. Understanding dawned in her crew's eyes. There was no argument, no protest, only the quiet efficiency of people who understood what needed to be done. Engineering, Diaz called. I need a way to modify our engine core to generate an electromagnetic pulse on impact, something the Harvesters can't possibly have encountered before. Chief Engineer Patel's voice came through with characteristic confidence. Already working on it, Captain. We can reconfigure the containment field to collapse in a specific sequence. The resulting cascade will generate an EMP unlike anything Standard Alliance or human vessels produce. As escape pods began launching from the relentless Diaz plotted the final course herself. A direct path through the weakest point in the Harvester defenses, straight to the command node at the heart of their formation. General Chen, she reported. This is Captain Diaz. Relentless is on final approach. Request covering fire from all available vessels. Chen's reply was immediate. Understood, Captain. The fleet will clear your path. A brief pause, then, Godspeed, Lena. Diaz allowed herself a small smile as she secured herself for the final run. The damaged destroyer, once a marvel of human engineering, was about to become something else entirely, a weapon the Harvesters could never have anticipated. Let's show them how humans say goodbye, she told her remaining bridge crew. Full power to engines. Disable all safeties. Let's make this count. General Chen stood at the observation window of New Terra City's central tower, watching alien and human engineers work side by side on the framework of the new deep space detection grid. 3 months after the Harvesters' defeat, the galaxy was rebuilding, differently than before. It's remarkable how quickly your people integrate new ideas, Ambassador Zalvek noted, joining her at the window. The defense network already incorporates elements from 17 different species. Chen nodded, her gaze following a group of Vextil engineers teaching human technicians how to calibrate their hive-enhanced sensor arrays. That's humanity's real strength, Ambassador. Not our technology or our tactics, but our ability to learn, adapt, and incorporate the best from others. Below them, the Grand Council chamber buzzed with activity as representatives from across the Alliance prepared for the formal ratification of the new defense protocols. What had begun as a desperate partnership had evolved into something unprecedented, a true interspecies collaboration with human adaptability at its core. When the memorial beacons are activated tonight, Zolvek said quietly, Captain Diaz's name will be first among them. Chen's expression softened. She wouldn't have wanted special recognition. She did what any of our captains would have done. What was necessary. The image of the relentless making its final approach was seared into Chen's memory. The damaged destroyer, engines pushed beyond safety limits, had slipped through the Harvester defenses with unexpected agility. The modified electromagnetic pulse generated when it struck the command node had rippled through the Harvester network with devastating effect, severing connections between units and destroying the central intelligence that coordinated them. Perhaps, Zolvek conceded, but symbols matter. Your people taught us that too. A small procession entered the observation deck. Admiral Voskar, accompanied by Lieutenant James Okoro and Security Chief Tilana, their unlikely friendship one of many forged in the crucible of conflict. The Sub-Council has approved the Mixed Species Training Program, Voskar announced. Starting next month, every defense vessel in Alliance space will include personnel trained in human adaptation techniques. And human ships will incorporate Alliance crew members, Chen added with satisfaction. Cross-pollination of ideas. Tilana, once the embodiment of Alliance protocol, had changed perhaps more than anyone. The officer who had once protested Raj Patel's unorthodox tactics on Yurova now helped develop training scenarios specifically designed to break trainees out of rigid thinking. We've identified remnant harvester units in the Cygnus sector, she reported. The new hybrid response teams are ready for deployment. Okoro nodded. These teams combine human adaptability with Alliance technological expertise. The harvesters won't recognize what they're facing. A soft chime indicated the council session was about to begin. As they made their way to the chamber, Chen paused before a memorial wall being installed in the central corridor. Captain Diaz's image was there, alongside countless others from various species, all who had given their lives in the conflict. We barely knew your people existed less than a year ago, Voskar remarked, his voice reflective. And now the future of galactic defense rests on your approach. Chen traced her fingers across the names of fallen comrades. Not just our approach. The harvesters failed because they couldn't comprehend diversity, couldn't adapt to facing an enemy that incorporated different ways of thinking. As they entered the council chamber, representatives from dozens of worlds rose in a gesture of respect. The path forward was clear. Not domination by any single species or philosophy, but a true synthesis of approaches. We are stronger together than apart, Chen told the assembled delegates as the session began. And together, we will build defenses that no threat can overcome, because we will never stop evolving. Above New Terra City, the first of the memorial beacons activated, its light beginning a journey that would reach across the galaxy, a testament to sacrifice and a promise of vigilance.